Aloha and welcome to one of my favorite little spots on this gorgeous island of Oahu. Just behind me a little ways is a ridge trail that I'm going to go enjoy here in a little bit. But first we are going to dive into a little public service announcement that's got a bunch of pieces to the puzzle that we're going to explore in terms of economic shift and some of the cycles that we're in the middle of. So if you are at all wondering what might be going on behind the scenes and what some of this current economic turbulence is all pointing towards, let's dive into some details in regards to all that. So appreciate you being here. Aloha. Welcome to another day in the Matrix and another day in paradise. This is a brief public service announcement that could make a big difference in how prepared you choose to become for what is ahead. Stick around towards the end. We are going to dive into some critical timeline perspectives that may be very helpful. I invite you to take 2 deep breaths and 3 steps back with me into a 30,000 foot view. Let's literally take a couple of deep breaths here. Thank you. Here we go. Number 1. Fortunes are made in the bear market, and that is where we are now. Did you know that the word democracy does not appear even one time in the U.S. Constitution or the Declaration of Independence? This is not the time to go into the significance of this. I bring it up because cognitive dissonance can be a challenging experience, and the truth is that ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance will eventually become expensive pain, like it did in ancient Rome, for example, and as history is now repeating in real time here in America. For several years prior to 2008, I was in the banking industry until I woke up to the fraudulent realities of our global monetary system, having experienced many of them firsthand. I've been studying economic history and wealth cycles ever since. Some of this discovery process led to the awareness of the 2008 housing market collapse about a year in advance. At this moment, we are in a very similar situation now in 2022-2023. This is a call to action and awareness. Writing on the wall, i.e. facts. Number 1, early 2020, the US M1 money supply, which is all the currency in circulation, went from roughly $4 billion to its current level today of over $20 billion. Those newly printed dollars are causing every dollar that was already in circulation to be worth far less in actual value. This is inflation, the reduction of a currency's purchasing power. Number 2, recently BlackRock, the largest asset management company in the world with over $9 trillion under management, partnered with Coinbase, the largest US cryptocurrency exchange, specifically to help institutions more easily invest in cryptocurrencies. Number 3, in 2020, the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, sued a cryptocurrency company called Ripple, and today that lawsuit is still ongoing. As this lawsuit was in full swing, the 43rd Treasurer of the United States, whose name is on all of your $100 bills, Rosie Rios, joined the board of directors at Ripple. Interesting. Number 4, for the last several years, one of the loudest sound bites coming out of the World Economic Forum is the following: you will own nothing and you will be happy. Number 5. In 2016, 2017, someone you and I may or may not know made a roughly $20,000 investment in the cryptocurrency space. And if that investment had achieved only a 10x return from there, that would have been enough to take significant notice. It may have become far more. Spoiler alert, 2008 was a dress rehearsal. And Thomas Jefferson warned us about this over 200 years ago in the following quote: "If the American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their currency, first by inflation, then by deflation, the banks and corporations that will grow up around them will deprive the people of all property until their children wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered. I believe that banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberties than standing armies. The issuing power should be taken from the banks and restored to the people to whom it properly belongs." For those of you who do not know, the Federal Reserve, the United States Central Bank, is in fact a private bank. After hearing this quote, let's go ahead and reread number 4 from a moment ago. For the last several years, one of the loudest sound bites coming out of the World Economic Forum, which is a think tank of global bankers, is the following: "You will own nothing and you will be happy." You can either play this game well, or the game will play you, as it unfortunately has for many decades in one way or another, regardless of what country you live in. Cryptocurrencies, the new digital asset class, is still in its infancy and has provided the largest return on investment of any asset class in history over these last 12 years. This may continue to be the biggest financial opportunity of our lifetimes. For many, we are likely to see the biggest financial calamity of our lifetimes. Your action now will determine how much support you can be for others in the aftermath of this shift. Again, 2008 was simply a dress rehearsal for this main event and shift, which is 49 years in the making. And when I say 49 years in the making, it's been exactly now actually 50 years since we went off the gold standard in 1971. That actually happens to be the same year the World Economic Forum was created. That 49 years and then the 50th year is very much imperative when it comes to the cycles of 7 that I will be mentioning a little later, but I can't emphasize how important this time in history and this next 1 to 2 years is going to be in that regard, just like it was during the Nixon shock of 1971. This will be the greatest transfer of wealth in human history. The wrecking ball has already made impact on our global structure that we are currently living in, marked traditional monetary system. And very soon it will be in free fall according to the numbers. Over the last 2.5 years, I've been teaching financial education and cryptocurrency classes, and now the best, most simple, and most comprehensive A to Z version is recorded and ready to deliver for those ready to be next level financially prepared. Fortunes are made in the bear market, and that is where we are right now. What is covered in this simple and comprehensive class? I call it level 4 responsibility. What is a bear market, a bull market, fiat currency, sound money, fractional reserve banking, inflation, as I mentioned, the Federal Reserve, central banks, dollar cost averaging, the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, the significance of 1913, and as I just mentioned, 1971. Please ask yourself, why are most people unable to define even a couple of these terms and concepts that I just mentioned? This is by design, as is the seeming complexity of financial jargon. It is not complicated, and I suggest not letting any of this become overwhelming. Nobody needs an economics degree or any level of financial expertise to understand our financial history and prepare for what is coming. All the pieces are easily put together with a little financial literacy. Do you fully understand why paper currency is not money? This is essential. In addition, the class covers the only 2 ways to create significant wealth, the best money management system ever created, investor mindset principles, silver assets and their importance, the crucial 7-year cycle we are soon to complete, the biggest transfer of wealth in world history, and simple step-by-step guide to enter the crypto space should one choose to do so, and potentially advantageous timelines for investing, as well as good cryptos versus bad cryptos. Very important. CYA, of course. None of this is financial advice and is for entertainment purposes only. The ramifications of all of this, as for you as an individual and we as a collective, are beyond comprehension. I do not exaggerate when I say it is freedom itself hanging in the balance. We get to be the source of a transformed world, and that means being proactive AF in this extremely pivotal time of our lives. That means living from the number 1 most important success and achievement principle of all time. Take action in spite of fear and uncertainty. Fear and uncertainty aren't going anywhere. However, opportunities come and go very quickly. Financial education and cryptocurrency class. This is a one-time sliding scale investment of anywhere between $247 and $497. Make this commitment now, especially if it's outside of your comfort zone, so that you are prepared in advance for what is coming. Investing in your financial education to a degree that is outside of your comfort zone will help ensure that you stay committed to taking action when the going gets tough. The going is going to get tough, and you have everything you need to rise to the occasion. I am truly committed to your financial education. Are you committed? Registration for the course is simple. You can reach out to me on social media, or some of you have my contact information, Seth Pollock. Venmo is preferred. The handle is @frequencyflow. If you are looking for different payment options, go ahead and contact me and we can discuss those. And let me know if you have any questions about the material that I just covered. Ignorance is not bliss, as the Matrix has suggested. Ignorance will become expensive pain, and the stakes have never been higher. I love you. Let's get ready and prepared for anything that is to come. Thank you so much. The timeline principle that I mentioned before that is so significant, the 7-year cycles that I go into depth on in the course are so imperative to understand, and just as an example of the significance and snapshot of that 7-year cycle, we had a significant financial collapse in 2001, known as the dot-com bubble, when 9/11 occurred. And exactly 7 years later, we had the next financial crisis of 2007 and 8. And fast forward 7 years after that, in Asian markets, particularly China, the stock market had a huge collapse and affected other markets around the world, of course, a big sell-off in the United States. Again, fast forward 7 years, we get 2022 into 2023, and the significance of the fact that this is the 7th cycle of 7, so the 50th year coming up. 7 times 7 is 49, so the 50th year right after that is the same kind of significant watershed moment that occurred exactly 50 years ago with the Nixon shock and going off the gold standard, an event that changed all of our lives forever, and most people are somewhat aware of that to one degree or another, but mostly just viewed as a footnote in history, rarely given the significance of what actually happened there. Our financial system is about to change under our noses, and the ramifications are going to be tremendous, and unfortunately most people will be unprepared. So, food for thought. Thank you so much for going on this journey with me, and I look forward to connecting with you soon. Take care. Much love. Aloha.